Hello YouTube, we're on the Real Programming channel. I'm its host and my name is Andrei. I greet you, welcome. This is our 36th lesson. We're talking about HTML and JavaScript. And the topic we're talking about build-ups in JavaScript. Chapter 6, talking to the web, extroverted app. If only I know reaching out and I touching a web service could be so much fun. You've been sitting in your page for too long. It's time to get out little, to talk to web services, to gather data, and to bring it all back so you can build better experiences mixing all that great data together. That's a big part of writing modern HTML5 applications, but to do that you got to know how to talk to web services. In this chapter we're going to do just that and incorporate some data from a real web service right in your page. And after you learn how to do that, you'll be able to reach out and touch any web service you want. We'll even fill you in on the hippest new lingo you should use when talking to web services. So, come on, you're going to use some more APIs, the communication APIs. Mighty Jumble wants a web app. Check out the new web-enabled MG2200 Jumble machine. It's going to revolutionize the biz. This just in Mighty Jumble Incorporate, an innovative company that builds and deploys real Jumble machines, has contacted us for some help. If you're not up on them, they recently network enabled their Jumble machines to track cells in real time. You might remember them from our book Here First Design Patterns when we helped them design their server-side code. See how Mighty Jumble it is. Now, it almost goes without saying that Mighty Jumble are Jumble experts, not software developers, and so they'd like our help building and to help them monitor Jumble cells. Here's what they sent over. Thanks for helping. Here is the way we think the Jumble machine real-time cells tool should work, and we're hoping you can implement this for us. Let us know if you have any questions or well send over some specs for the web service soon. Mighty Jumble engineers. Mobile and desktop devices get cells from real-time server to the web service. We want you to write this part using HTML5, of course. Our server on the web are all our Jumble machines reporting into the central server. Before we get started, take a little time to think through how you might design an app that retrieves data from a web service and then takes a web page updated based on the data. Don't worry that you don't know how to retrieve that data yet. Just think through the high-level design. Draw a peak, label it, write out pseudo code for any code you might need. Think of this as warm-up just to get your brain going. How do you get the data from the web service to our web page? Once we've got the data, how do we update the page? What kinds of problem might have with getting data from a remote server? A little more background on Mighty Jumble, overview of Mighty Jumble. You probably need a little background beyond Mighty Jumble's store node. Here's what you got. First, they got Jumble machines all over the country sending cells reports Mighty Jumble server, which combines all these reports and makes them available to a web service. And second, they asking us to build a web app that displays the cells in the browser for the Jumble cells team. And most likely they want this report to be updated as the cells changes over time. Here is the view from 10,000 feet. I'm from Fresno and I'm just sold 3 Jumbles. Murfreesboro, here I just sold 2 Jumbles. And so on. Thanks everyone. I'm taking all the cells and combining them all together. And Mighty Jumble machines are deployed throughout the country and sending cells information to the central Jumble servers. The server aggregates them together and makes them available to a web service. The browser loads the Mighty Jumble web app, including the HTML markup, CSS and JavaScript. 3. The app makes web requests to retrieve the aggregate cells from a Jumble server. 4. The app receives data back from the Jumble server. 5. The app takes a look at the data and then updates the page's DOM to reflect any new cells data. 6. The browser updates the page based on the DOM and your users see the results. 7. The app goes back to the step 3 and continually asks for a new data. As a result, the page appears to be updated in near real time. Preparing the miracle. Just a quick start. While we're waiting on those specs from Mighty Jumble, let's get some HTML going. You're probably getting the idea. We don't need a lot of HTML markup to get a web app off the ground, and you're right. All we need is a place to put our sales reports. They come in and we'll let JavaScript do the rest. Go ahead and get this typed in, and then we'll take a look at how retrieve things via the web. And exactly this code you may download in the description under this video in link. Please check and download. Just your standard HTML5 hidden body. We've gone ahead and linked it to a JS file, knowing we'll be writing some JavaScript soon, and we set up our CSS to style the Mighty Jumble sales report, so it looks good for the SEO. Here is a placeholder for where we're going to put the sales data. Each sales item will be added as a div here. Turn the engine over, go ahead and type in the code above, load it into your favorite browser and give it a try before proceeding, and remember, you can download the CSS and then other code for this chapter in description. So, how do we make requests to web services? Let's step back for a sec. You already know how a browser requires a page from a web server. It makes an HTTP request to the server, which returns the page along with the other metadata that typically only the browser sees. What you might not know is that the browser can also retrieve data with HTTP from a web server in the same way. Here is how that works. Browsers can request the data from applications on the server, like the Mighty Jumble application that aggregates all the sales data. Here is the server just waiting on a request from browser. The server returns its data. It helps to look a little more closely at the request we make to the server and the response that comes back. The request takes care of telling the server that what data we're after, which is we sometimes refer to as the resource we're after, while the response contains metadata and, if all goes well, the data we requested. The request uses HTTP 1.1 protocol to get the resources as a /jumbles our application on the server. The response, the HTTP 1.1 protocol header is first, is just saying this response makes use the HTTP protocol also provides a response code. 200 is the server code that means things went ok. The metadata will get content that is 756 bytes long and type application JSON, and here is that data, and the request is coming from a Mozilla 5.0 compatible browser, Safari, Chrome, and other use this user agent. The metadata we're making the request to the host Jumble wiki.smart.com. And note, this pattern of retrieving data using XML HTTP request is commonly referred to as JAX or XHR. And using XML HTTP request have to make a request from JavaScript, We will be talking about this in the next lesson. And here is our 36th lesson about HTML and JavaScript is over. Thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel and put likes, share with friends. Comment and so on. Meditate, do exercise, drink more water for the brain, eat bananas, chocolate and nuts and so on. Thanks you. Bye.